Hello everyone, here are the latest market news on April the 11th, 2019. Australia's economy is slowing. When a country's economic growth slows, its stock market usually follows suit, not in Australia. Despite a backdrop of troubling economic signals, the nation's benchmark S&P/ASX 200 index rallied almost 10% in the first quarter, its best-ever performance to begin a year in data going back almost 3 decades. Strong commodity prices and promises of easy monetary policy from central banks are working in the gage's favor, even as Australia's property slump deepens in its economy countries to wane. Australia experienced its weakest 6-month expansion since the global financial crisis, according to gross domestic product data released last month. It's also in the middle of its worst housing slump in a generation, as plummeting property prices and a credit squeeze weigh on consumers. Brexit delayed to end of October. Brexit is on course to be delayed until the end of October under a plan to avoid a chaotic no-deal split, risking 6 more months of political uncertainty over Britain's ties to the European Union. The blueprint hashed out during 6 hours of talks in Brussels allows the UK to stay in the bloc until October the 31st, with a review of progress to be held in June. British Prime Minister Theresa May accepted the offer and must now sell it to skeptical members of Parliament in London. The pound was unchanged on the news as investors had priced in a delay. Diplomats were quick to point out that this might not be the last extension Britain granted, and European Council President Donald Tusk didn't exclude the possibility. She argued that she needed a short amount of extra time to complete the process of cross-party compromise talks with her main opponents, Jeremy Corbyn's Labour Party. The two sides are having serious and constructive discussions, May said as she arrived in Brussels. Nikkei ends higher in choppy trade. Japan's Nikkei edged higher in choppy trade on Thursday on futures-led buying, but gains were limited by weaker financial stocks after the U.S. Federal Reserve's meeting minutes reinforced dovish policy expectations. Investors awaited earnings results from Yaskawa Electric, a manufacturer with large exposure to China, as it kicks off the Japanese earnings season. Yaskawa's results are seen as a leading indicator of Chinese demand, and investors are monitoring to see what they mean of other Japanese manufacturers, traders said. The Nikkei share average ended 0.1% higher at 21,711.38 after swinging in and out of positive territory. Short-term investors were seen buying futures when the dollar edged up to trade about 111 yen, traders said. Oil prices fall on increasing U.S. crude supply. Oil prices fell on Thursday, pressured as U.S. crude stockpiles surged to their highest level in almost 17 months, amid record production and as economic concerns cast doubt over growth in demand for fuel. International benchmark Brent futures were down 29 cents to $71.44 per barrel. U.S. WTI crude oil futures were at $64.28 per barrel, down 33 cents from their previous settlement. According to EIA, U.S. crude inventories rose 7 million barrels to 456.6 million barrels in the last week, their highest since November 2017. U.S. crude oil production remained at a record 12.2 million barrels per day, making the United States the world's biggest oil producer ahead of Russia and Saudi Arabia. There are also concerns that an economic slowdown will soon dent fuel consumption after the International Monetary Fund this week downgraded its global growth forecast to the lowest in a decade.